Well, it's been a couple of months now that I've had my Yamaha. It's the R15M, and it is an incredible bike. I've got to tell you, this is not any kind of a review on the bike itself. It's more a review on how I'm getting along with it. In my advancing years, I had the sudden brainwave that we could save money on our high gas bills, diesel bills, because diesel is even higher than gas here, and it's up around, in some places it's up around as high as 84 pesos per liter, which is pretty expensive, I think, even for America. So we decided that we could get a bike and we could just get it on finance, and the finance per month is still not in excess of the difference between what we would save by using the bike more often than the Raptor, because normally it's just a ride up to Talabon and back. And I love motorcycling. We have had, that was our first transport when we came here. We got a Racal, which probably any foreigner will not even be familiar with that, but it's a Chinese or Korean bike, Korean made bike. I'm sure that somebody will correct me on that if I'm wrong. But anyway, that it lasted very well. And in fact, all we did was we just got the multicab. The multicab is the little four-wheel drive pickup truck that is the most popular means of transportation here in the Philippines. It's the next move up for any Filipino family in the province, which is where we live. So if you're on a motorcycle and that's how you've been coping, and Filipinos do cope incredibly well with a motorcycle, even for a family, and it's a regular thing to see a man and his wife and two children squashed, one squashed between mom and dad, and the other one sitting on the fuel tank. So not to go into a discussion on safety factors in the Philippines, because they don't bear any relation to reality in Western culture. Okay, but the next move up is to get a multicab, and that's what we did. And then from multicab, we went a bigger truck because we wanted to transport kids. When we went to church, one of my Sunday driving jobs was first of all to get the family to the church. This is when we were going to Timio's church before we started building a church in Bagakay, which is where we transferred to. And now we've actually done that again, and we're building another in, I call it the Quarry Church. Beth calls it the mountain church, but it's in the mountains further and through the quarry, which is still a working quarry, so big trucks and everything. So it's a poor community. But anyway, that's what we're doing now as far as building. That's our project at the moment, on our charity side. Okay, so back to there I go again, meandering. But back to my experiences with the bike. Well, before we had the problems with the Raptor, and as I say, something kicking up when we're doing the four wheeling down to the main highway has caused some damage and probably ruptured a fuel pipe. So we're waiting. The truck is actually in Tagbilaran now at the Ford dealership. We called today to find out what the news was, and it's still in line for diagnosis, so we still don't know. So now it's funny the way that things have turned around, because my born again biker days have come full circle, and it's our main transport. Now, the trouble with that is that as soon as you get down to the main road, it's wonderful, but it's not a bike that you can use driving through mud. Um, one of the things that attracted me, there were two main things apart from the beauty of the bike. Aesthetically, it's a really beautiful bike, very stylish. It's a big bike with just a 150 engine, which they have tuned and made so good that it's fast. Certainly fast enough for me, way fast enough for me. So there were two aspects. It had ABS brakes, which on the roads that I know now from 8 years of driving is actually a boon, right? It's a godsend. And the bike stops incredibly well in a very short distance. So ABS is the anti-lock system that's on cars. On almost all cars now are anti-lock ABS brakes. So that was one of the things. The other thing was that it has traction control. Now, this is a wonderful thing too, because while we're in the mountains, sometimes when we're going into Talabon, on the right hand side you've got the high ground, and then on the left it goes down. And if you were to ride even a short distance very, very soon and keep driving, your hat would float, because we're so close to the coast there and the sea. So you get quite a lot of wash down of mud and dirt down onto the main road. In fact, they have the quarry people, the quarry company, employ this old guy with a special broom and scraper, and he keeps, that's it. It's like the Golden Gate Bridge or the Forth Bridge in Scotland. He just starts at one end and then goes back to the other, or just returns, and he goes backwards and forwards cleaning the road, because with the rain it's always got quite a bit of dirt and sand. So I thought that the traction control would be particularly a boon, as well as the ABS. Now I've found that with the 2 mile road that is down to the highway, that's really a minefield. When we drove the small bike, like the scooter kind of bike, and we drove that, we got to one particular place. This is when there'd been torrential heavy rain every day, and it was just, you're driving through a pool, and you're driving through 6 or 7 inches, even more, of water, under which is another several inches of mud. And we did a side slip, and we took a mud bath, much to the amusement of all of our subscribers. Well, anyway, we did that. Now, that's so much easier in the smaller bike, the scooter, because you're low to the ground and you easily put your foot down no matter what. With the bike, and this is where it comes in about the traction control. When I went down there yesterday and had to negotiate this one particular place where it was going into mud. So it's 2 big pools on either side and one center piece of mud, which mistakenly now I drove in the center. I should have gone through the water, because with feet down or feet at the ready, I would have been fine, and that's what I've been doing since. Well, the traction control came into play when I was negotiating to go through this mud, because what happens is that on a computerized system, the driving wheel of the bike senses that there is mud. And the way that I'm no technical man, by the way, but the way that the salesman described it to me was that it would reduce the amount of power going to the driving wheel. And so I was giving it revs, and it wasn't responding, and I almost got stuck in the mud, because on either side, as I said, you had the pools of water. So it was a difficult point, and I must go tomorrow. I intended to go today, we didn't have time, but I was intending to go to them and talk to them about how to, you can actually switch the traction control off, because obviously, as I've now demonstrated, there are times when you're better off without it. On the road, certainly it will be back on, but that's my experience at the moment. What I'm finding is that we decided that when we had the Raptor, we would drive down to the property that we're working on in Burgos, which is a very short drive down there, leave the Raptor there, and we built a shed that was weatherproof and secure, and we keep the bike there. So I drove the bike down there, we locked the bike away. But of course, now that we have no truck to drive, then we need to use the Yamaha. And that means that when we get to a really tricky part, and there are several parts like that, Beth gets out and walks. She used to be a little nervous before when we were coming on that road, and that was when we had a dirt bike. And she used to sing Christian songs into my ear, which which does little for your self-confidence, because you've got somebody on the back that is asking God to help us, and there you are thinking that you haven't been doing such a bad job. But anyway, we came off a couple of times on the, especially when I was with Taliklik. Taliklik was only a little kid then, and she used to love to come with me on the bike. We used to ride up to Talabon, and we'd go and have hallow together and do whatever we had to do then. We had a very, very simple life back then, which began to be more complicated as we started to get into the application for our charity license, which we now have. Okay, so that's my Born Again Biker days. I'm not unfortunately, this is going to change now because it's our main transport, but I wasn't using the bike enough to really get over that honeymoon period where you're still learning about how it all works. And so now, if you have great gaps in between your riding, you lose some of the skill that you actually acquired. That's going to change now, and I'm confident that it will become fun. It has been fun. It's if anybody is out there and they're thinking of this bike, the Yamaha, as opposed to even the Honda. The Honda is cheaper. The Suzuki, they are not doing a fully faired. It doesn't have a fairing. They have a similar bike, which is, probably on a par with the Yamaha, but it doesn't have the fairing, which just makes it into so much more, has so much more aesthetic appeal. And we did see one other bike, exactly same colour, same bike, everything, on our way home tonight. And somebody was parked with his bike at a place where there's a car wash there, and people go car wash and bike wash, and they were there. So that's a Filipino that has that bike, which has surprised me because it's not the kind of bike that Filipinos normally go for. It doesn't easily carry a wife, 2 children, and a bag of rice, which takes it out of the game. But that's my experiences up to now. Things are going well. We could do with the Raptor back again. Let's hope it's not a king's ransom to pay for the repair. I'll be back. Bye.